Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show. Shabbat Shalom and Barakatah. God bless you. Thank you for joining the Crystal Jones Show. It's the show that's all about life's balance. We greet you in the name of Ahaya, Bahashem Yeshaya, Wawarak. We want to let you know how you can watch our show on a weekly basis. Okay, you could watch every Saturday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on bronxnet.org. Also on your cable channels 951 and 2137, the Inspire channel. Also go to my YouTube page, subscribe to the page, like the videos, share them. Also check out my Instagram page where you can get encouraging Bible quotes on a regular basis, and also on HebrewConnect.tv. All right. Today, we're going to do something a little different. We have two guests today. That's none other than Dr. Judith Ryder and Dr. Joanne Carroll. They are part of the Inside Out project from St. John's University. Remember, I had shared with you all that for the month of March, which is Women's History Month, we had Her Story event at one of the local facilities that houses incarcerated people that are about to go back out into the public. So these different projects help, incarcerated people to get back in touch with themselves, get back in touch with their families, and the different things that they need to be in touch with when they go back, into society. So a lot of these different projects help them. You had met another wonderful woman who has the music project that she has, where they taught music and, how to play different instruments and things like that. And like I said, you're going to be seeing a lot of these different women who play a part in, helping people to rehabilitate people so that they can deal with society again. So they are part of the Inside Out project at St. John's. All right. None other, like I said, than Dr. Judith Ryder and Dr. Joanne Carroll. So we want to welcome them to the show, and let's talk to them about what it is that they do. All right. Welcome, Dr. Judith Ryder, and welcome, Dr. Joanne Carroll. Thank you for being a part of the Crystal Jones Show this morning. It's good to see you all. I was glad to see you all at Her Story during Women's History Month. And that particular program was awesome, hearing the different things that you all do. It's appreciated in the communities. And I'm pretty sure that the families of the incarcerated are very, very happy that someone wants to take the time to help rehabilitate, people and get them going again. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. We'll start with Dr. Judith. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be with you today. So my name, you can call me Judy. I'm a professor and direct the Inside Out project at St. John's. And what that is part of a much larger international group, the Inside Out Prison Exchange Program. And the whole idea is to bring together students from colleges with those who are inside to study as peers and to work together in a regular college classroom. And in not all cases, but fortunately, St. John's has made it so that the people who take our courses all get 3 college credits. So that can be applied to any other program that they go to. But we can get into that, but basically that's what we are here to talk about, is the Inside Out project. And I'll let Joanne introduce herself.
Yes. Hi. Thanks so much, Crystal, for inviting us. I teach in a different college than Judy does. I teach in the College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. So I, inspired by Judy, I got involved in the Inside Out project and have offered a public health class to people inside. And it's remarkable the interactions that can happen among the students inside and outside. We all learn tremendous amounts. It's really about going across the walls of the prison and really having an experience of the other. And it's remarkable to see the growth on both sides, you know, the people from the outside and the people on the inside. So I've been really privileged to work along with Judy on this project. And we hope that it helps people to be inspired to continue their education when they get back out into the community. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Thank you.
Okay. It seems like this project has been pretty successful. I've seen it work, you know, at different, you know, facilities, especially the ones where the inmates are getting ready to go home. It seems like it's starting to spread where they're not as afraid to, you know, participate in educating themselves. I would imagine what would keep them from that is sometimes maybe they don't know how to express the fact that maybe their reading is not up to par, you know, different things like that. Like a lot of times people may have what they call dyslexia, things like that have never been detected when they were children, to let them know that that's all it is. And we can, you know, get past that, you know, that type of thing. So I think a lot of people who are incarcerated, I particularly deal in a facility where there are men. So I think they are starting to wake up to the fact that we're not, you know, even us that work at a facility like that, we're not there to put them down or, you know, to try to discourage them, but to encourage them to take these classes. Because whenever I have a chance to talk to the men, I tell them, listen, take every opportunity that you can, you know, to educate yourself so that you can, you know, move on in your life. You have to move past this. So when I see different things like this, this is, you know, helps me to want to continue to encourage them that there's nothing to be ashamed of as far as educating yourselves. So, you know, I'm glad to, you know, really see when I saw at her story, people like yourselves that have these different opportunities available for them. It really, really makes a big difference. So tell us a little more about, you know, how you got started and all, you know, all the wonderful things that go along with it.
Certainly. I can start if that's all right, Joanne. I went through a training at Temple University for this program that trains instructors to teach in a different manner, which is not straight lecture. It's much more engaging. It's much more participatory. So I went through a training for that, but that was in like 2004. But then it took a long time to get through the university to, like, I was going to Rikers and I wanted to go to Rikers. And, you know, the university was not thrilled about the idea of me taking a group of St. John's students into Rikers for a class. So it took a lot of work through the administration and getting people comfortable with it. The Department of Corrections was excited about it, but again, it's dealing with all those institutions can be something. So it wasn't until spring of 2016 that we were able to bring the first class to Rikers, and we had 10 outside St. John students and 9 inside students, and it was fabulous. And I was hooked. I thought this is the greatest way to teach, because you have 2 very different groups of people both with stereotypes of each other. I mean, people thought St. John's students are going to be rich and stuck up and really smart, and they go on and on. And outside people were kind of afraid and didn't know if they would be their equals and all kinds of things. So you deal with those right away. And suddenly, guess what? You're all, 19 to 25-year-olds who know some things and don't know other things. And so there's a really wonderful exchange. And I truly believe people are transformed by this sort of participatory education. And Joanne and I are not lecturers in this context. We facilitate, we introduce the readings, we introduce a lot of exercises where people can work together in small groups. So we kind of then stand back, and the learning really happens between the groups of students. And so we did it at Rikers for several years, and then was able to come over to Queensboro Correctional Facility. And it is really, for me, rejuvenated my love of teaching. And I think for the students, it has changed people's lives, whether it's career paths or deciding, oh, I can do college, I am pretty smart, or in lots of different ways. But it's very exciting and fulfilling, I think, for all parties. So.
Okay, so you two decided to come together. Is that it? To to make this work. Let's hear from you, Dr. Joanne. What has been your experience with?
Yes. Well, Judy and I met in some other projects at St. John's. We were working on a lecture series on race and justice for a while, and she brought in the founder of Inside Out, Lori Pompa, at Temple. And I was totally inspired. I teach in the sciences, so there weren't a lot of science classes, many sociology classes, political science, but actually there's a whole range of classes now. People teach mathematics through this program. So I also trained in 2016 at the Institute at Temple, and then began to try to, get my classes into. I did not succeed at teaching at Rikers. We switched over to Queensboro. And I brought a public health class in there, which was a wonderful class to talk about science as it impacts the world. And, recently with the COVID pandemic, we haven't been able to go in person, but we, along with some other colleagues at NYU and Manhattanville, designed a virtual seminar series on COVID, which not only talked about the virus and the vaccines and the public health measures, but also about the other things happening in the world. And we were able to do that at Queensboro and Westchester County Jail several times. And it was a wonderful opportunity for people to really ask questions and reflect on what was happening in our world. And that was not an inside out class per se, but it did keep us in touch with the people inside, and I think provided them with an opportunity to really digest what was happening in the world, get some information. And we had some very, very wonderful debates. Not everybody agreed with everybody, but that's part of the process, is really working through our different perspectives. So it's been really rejuvenating for me as well, and to really think about how to bring these topics to a different students that have different backgrounds. And it's influenced my teaching at St. John's as well. I've learned tremendously from the people we've worked with. And so I'm really hoping we can get back on site, person to person, and do whatever we can to contribute to, people going in whatever directions they want. Many of these people many of the men or women that we've worked with have done some college classes while they've been incarcerated upstate. There are many college in prison programs. Hopefully there'll be more, because now some of the Pell Grants have been extended to include people in prison again, which hasn't been the case since 1994. So there's a real interest in having a lot more higher education in prison and educational opportunities for people. So we hope that continues.
Well, that's definitely good. I would love to see the statistics on how many of them, once they've, been a part of a program like this, how many of them go back and impact their communities, because education definitely is a part of what people need. Because from what I've seen, even people who are incarcerated, a lot of time, to me, incarceration starts a lot with people who are impoverished. You know what I mean? Because there's no other choices sometimes, or no other choices that they know of. So once they're given these choices that I can be educated, I'm just as good as anybody else. I can, we're all created as people, you know what I'm saying? So it's just that opportunity to learn to do better, that there is better for you out there, So I just kind of wonder what would be the statistics of those who leave there. Not saying that education is the only thing that these people need, because once you've left the incarceration stage, I could imagine there's emotional things that need to be dealt with as well, that not just education is going to help, but it is a part of it, So I would definitely like to see this continue to every jail, really, that, people can become more educated. So what are your next steps? What do you have, planned? What do you have in mind to continue with this endeavor?
Joanne, do you want to go with Ignacio House, and then I'll talk about Westchester?
Sure. So what you're saying, Crystal, about, the reentry process is very, there's a lot to deal with. And we've recently become acquainted with a group. It's called Thrive for Life. They have a website, thriveforlife.org. And one of the things that they do, there's a priest, a Jesuit priest, who does ministry at Rikers. But they also have started, they have a house up in the Bronx now called Ignacio House of Studies. And it is for people reentering, and they provide housing and support system so that they can go back to school or go into some other kind of training. And they right now have 14 men that are living in this house in the Bronx, and they're studying at various institutions. St. John's is hoping to become a partner. We're working on that now. But people can go, I think they're studying at NYU and some of the community colleges to either complete their degrees if they started them while they were upstate, or to start a program. So we're very excited about getting involved in that process, because coming back, you're very right, coming back into the community, there's a lot of things that people have to deal with. And it's hard to just say, well, I'll go back to college and I'll do all these other things that I have to do to reintegrate. So we're hoping this will be something that they're hoping to expand and have more houses around the city. They're opening a house in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so it may become a national kind of model for doing this. So we're hoping to be involved in that as an educational partner.
Sounds great. And Dr. Judith, you have?
Well, and there's another piece to that on a different side, which is brand new for us. We're kind of consulting with New York Medical College, which is in Westchester, and it's right across the street from the Westchester County Jail. And they are interested in having an inside out course where the outside students will be medical students. And the idea is that so many impoverished people are going through the healthcare system, and the healthcare providers have no experience or clue about the lives of many of these folks. And so by having this course is hoping to provide educational content, but also just the experience of hearing directly from people who they will probably encounter. People who come in and out of jails have a lot of different health issues that need to be addressed and contextualized. And so we're hoping that this Inside Out class will be a step towards that for the next generation of doctors who will be graduating soon. So we are not directly involved in that, but we are consulting with them to help set up a course for medical students. So it's very exciting, actually.
Okay, well, it sounds like you all have your plate full with different things that you're, venturing into, because it sounds like this can go so many different ways. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You can do so many different things, and education is key. It's a very, very integral part of incarcerated people's lives. And I get a chance sometimes to speak with the parents and things like that, and they're happy about what's going on because they always want their family members to come to our facility, because they know that they're going to get programs like that. It's not just going to be a hokey pokey type place. It's going to be where and I get to see them in the hallways and things like that. And these guys are really, they're happy, they're learning things, they're getting ready to go back home. They're being educated, and it even shows in different things that they do, even in the responsibility for the upkeep of the building. It shows that they're eager to learn. We have an officer that trains them in just how to like with the painting and things like that. She shows them how they could paint murals and different things like that, but she also shows them the paperwork that goes along with maintaining a building. And I see her, I always commend her for how she does it. And she hands them the breakdown, and she shows them how to read through it and go through the building and make sure everything is circumspect. And she says, okay, now you do it. And so you know what I mean? So these tools are key for them, because they could come out and start their own businesses eventually. You never know what that will lead to. And I always, I try to tell them that whenever, I get a chance, like, you might be flipping burgers today. Yeah. But some money is better than no money until you can get to another level. You know what I mean? Today you could be flipping burgers. Tomorrow you could own the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? So don't think of it as, oh God, this is where I'm going to be the rest of my life. I made a mistake, or whatever happened to them. There is hope.
Right. And one thing that's been really wonderful at Queensboro is that when we were in person and having the classes, there would be a graduation, and parents, wives, children would come to this, and you could see the pride in these guys that they made it through a college course. They got 3 credits, and their families are there. And a number of the families have they're beaming. They're very, not to say, like I said, it's a piece, but they're very proud of their loved one and vice versa. And it's really cool to be part of that and to see, as you were saying, the impact on the families. And a number of the guys we'll talk about, they did this for their little girl or little boy, and just so that they could show them, yes, your dad went through a college course and did really well. And maybe he'll continue college, maybe he won't. We recognize that college is not maybe for everyone, and you've got other things on your plate when you first get out, but it's a start and it's a taste of success. And I think that helps with whatever they end up doing long term, but it's a start. It's a step towards something very fulfilling. And I think it's been, it does reflect in the families and the community. I don't know the statistics. That's another project, but we do know that people who get education inside are much less likely to come back. That we know. It's a marked improvement. So education does play a key role there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say too that, I'm sorry, Judy, that the education on the other side of those of us who go inside, who may never have had much interaction with the criminal justice system, is enormous. And I think just us going in, I know we did a workshop a couple of years ago, one of the provost at St. John's and myself, with some people who were really close to re-entering, and it was just a discussion, a discussion about what their hopes and fears were. And we learned a tremendous amount from them, but they were so appreciative that people were coming inside to talk to them because they are very isolated sometimes from having a lot of contact, with just to have a conversation with people. And it really changes everything on both sides. And I think that the sensitivity to, the whole question of how we incarcerate certainly has become a much bigger one for me. I didn't know very much before I started working with this project. So I think it's the education for the people on the outside is just as important, so that we can really transform this whole system in a way that serves everyone much more in a much
to
fairer
that point, a lot of
productive way. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's okay.
A lot of the college students come in, and some of them are in my classes. I taught a sociology class, which was basically a critique of the justice system and how could we change it. And a number of my students were criminal justice undergraduates who were going to go into law enforcement or the courts, and they were had very specific ideas about how the system should work, but had never worked in the system, had never met people who had been affected deeply by the system. And that was a remarkable change. I mean, opened up a lot of eyes, because only learning through a book, or which is all good, academics all good, but to have the experience of walking into a prison or a jail and then actually having class with people who could tell them a thing or two was pretty remarkable. And a lot of the inside guys would say, oh, the college students coming in, I'm sure they're really smart. I'm like, they're smart about going to school. They know how to do college, but that doesn't make them smarter people. It's just they know how to do college. You know how to do other things. So let's bring it together. And the learning, the exchange was really important. It's definitely not a one-sided thing. And as Joanne said, as professors, we were changed. And I know our outside students also, for the better. So.
Yes.
There's a program, Crystal, too. Columbia University has a Center for Justice that does a lot of work on all sides. But they had a program with assistant district attorneys, basically an inside-out type program. We were not involved in it, but we did attend their graduation ceremony. And actually, some of Dr. Ryder's students were in both programs. And it was remarkable to hear the assistant district attorneys talk about what they learned. Some of them had never been inside of a prison. And so this is the kind of model that could transform all sorts of people on the outside to be sensitized to who these people are who are incarcerated. And we don't go into any of the details of why they're there. That's not really relevant to us. We just are talking about issues and talking to each other. So it's the exchange. It's not about trying to figure out a way to do something, to fix somebody or something, but it's the personal contact that, regardless of what you're talking about, is so important. So there are other groups also trying to get more communication across the walls.
Great. Yes, because I think definitely, that is key. I'm sure that all of us, before we went, started dealing with the incarcerated population, have preconceived notions and things like that. I mean, I did too, before I started working in corrections. But then you have to I have to even go into my ministry background, is that if we're all created in the image of God, well, he's not stupid, right? So if we're created in his image,
that's going to be the quote for the day.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
He's not stupid. So neither are any of us. It's
right.
Just a matter of finding your gift. What did he equip you with? What are you good at? That's really it. You know what I'm saying? And then there are people that are not incarcerated that kind of get that. You may see them doing it in a different way. They may sell things on the street. They may be selling T-shirts or something like that, but they're hustlers. You know what I'm saying? They know how to hustle. But if they could then get more education of how to present those t-shirts or whatever. It's all about using your gift. To me, it's your gift and your talent. You know what I'm saying? You could be gifted in many ways, but you had a setback. That's all that is. You had a setback. So now you have to come from that setback. I look at, again, I'm gonna go to the ministerial. Look at Joseph, okay, in the Bible, right? He was thrown in prison too. Okay, so even though he had done nothing, right? How many people are thrown in prison and they've done nothing? So while he was there, he had many years to, choose whether he was going to do good or bad or whatever he was going to do. But ultimately, he winded up saving a whole nation full of people from starvation. You know what I'm saying? When he was brought up out of the prison. But I'm sure while he was there in the prison, he might have picked up some bad habits. Who knows? Right? Because we tend to think of Bible people as perfect people. Come on, let's be real. When you really dig into these people's stories, they were a little cuckoo sometimes too, right? They were a little off. Because they're people. You know what I mean? People are people. Some days it's a good day, some days please, right? So it's the same thing when you think about it. We're all people. We ultimately end up choosing our path. But in the meantime, we need to get to know what are our gifts, what are our talents, how can we use those gifts and talents to impact the people around us, the world that we live within, whether, I don't care what culture you come from, you're a person, you know what I'm saying? And you have to impact the world around you. So they have to come to that realization. Okay, I'm a person. I was incarcerated. But now I have to come back from that. And it's up to you whether you're going to come back strong, or you're going to kind of sit in the shadows, So it's good when they want to come and, like you said, be a part of, even, and they're being honest about saying, oh, these people are smart and everything. They're being honest with you. They're being very transparent, saying, hey, I don't think these people are going to like me or whatever, and it's going to be a problem. But on the other end, you have, like you said, the young teenagers to 25 years old who are a little curious. Who are these people? What did they come from or whatever? And how now can they come back and impact the world? But not only that, what could I learn from them?
Right.
So that's I like that dynamic that, you're helping each other. So, I've never heard of that anywhere. I've never heard of people actually doing that. So thank God that you all have the boldness to bring something like that about. That is really awesome. And it I'm sure it's going to impact a lot of people who even see this program. Like, really? They're doing that? That, because that's different. You didn't hear that years ago. I didn't,
No, it is. It's very from very basic things where the outside students are a little nervous, but the inside, especially in the male prison, and we had females coming in, obviously, and there were jokes about, oh, I want to get in the class because there's girls there. But we've also had the men talk to us about they've been around mostly men for years. And so they don't even know how they're uncomfortable in a classroom where there are women. And so it's a socialization process too, that we're here for a class and it's okay that we're together. And, there's a few bumps and starts as people get used to being with one another. But by the end of the semester, so many of those barriers have come down, and it's really incredible to watch over the semester because there is a process on both sides and a change in the mindset, I think, of everybody. which I can't say is true in all classes, but I think in these inside out, because of that dynamic, it opens everyone up to a lot more information and understanding and realization that, okay, we're kind of in this together. We're in different spaces right now, but we have a lot of commonality that we didn't see before. And that, I think, is a huge contribution outside of the content of any class. So that's what we do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can just say from my own experience of my training, a week in a maximum security prison, where the instructors were people who were incarcerated for life. And there were 19 professors and 19 people who were incarcerated, many of whom had done their bachelor's degrees and master's degrees, and they had been very involved in training for many years. And it was astounding how all of my preconceptions had to just dissolve. These people were amazing and skilled facilitators, and many of them have since been released from prison because of some changes in the law. They were convicted as teenagers, and they had served a long time. Some people had been in prison for 30 years, and they are now out in their communities doing remarkable things. We hear about, where they are and what they're doing now, but that was an astounding thing for every professor in that room. The first session we had, at the end of the session, we were just stunned. We were silent. It was like there was so much that was happening just with the interaction. They were extraordinary. And I think of a quote by somebody I admire very much, Brian Stevenson, a lawyer who fights for people incarcerated on death row. And he said, we're all more than the worst thing we've ever done. We have to look at people as people. We all make mistakes. Some of them are serious mistakes, but you're still much more than that. So I think that really opened my eyes. Just having this wonderful, incredible interaction with these men who were working really hard to contribute.
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, you definitely are more than that. And then you have to realize too, wherever you live, right? You don't know the people next door to you like you think you do. You really don't. Sometimes you may have an extended talk with your neighbor and realize that person was in prison for a long time. And they could tell you how they came out of it and stuff like that. And there are many more people that were incarcerated for many different reasons. Like you said, you don't know what these people are in for. Sometimes they get lost in the system. All kind of stuff happens. And they're right next door to you, whether you live in a big building development or something like that. You think all of those people never went to jail? Come on, no. People have been arrested for many, many different things, but the humanity, of it all is that, like I said, we're people, and we need each other more than we think we do, so it's about us coming together. We weren't created to be separated from people. You know what I'm saying? People is a part of the deal. This is Earth. This is where we were placed. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? We have to learn. We have to learn to deal with each other's realities. Meet people where they are, just like we expect them to. Even if we've never been incarcerated, still you want people to meet you where you are. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same type of thing. It's just being open to to meet people where they are, and to learn from them, and they learn from you as well. And like I said, a project like this is very awesome. And I know that the parents, when they call, they're happy and they want their children to come to whichever facilities are going to offer programs like this, because they want their loved one to be able to come out and do better. And definitely, like I said, education is definitely key in whatever you do. You have to educate yourself in that field, and whatever you do, you have to educate yourself. Is there anything else you all would like to share with us about the project or anything upcoming or?
I would just like to say it's been great to be here, and I think it's really hopeful that Pell Grants are now becoming available for those who are incarcerated, and we're hopeful that more and more facilities will allow people to come in to provide education. It's a great opportunity, and there's, it's something that should be happening across the country where you have education is available. And if it can be the inside out model, I think that's even better, because you have not only the content, but the people exchange and that connection, which is so essential for everybody's growth, for societies, that to have that experience with one another. So I am hopeful that we can, that changes will be made in the justice system and we move forward.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would just say, can I just add, Crystal?
Sure.
I'm thinking there was a film that was made a few years ago called College Behind Bars, which is about not an inside out program, but a Bard College up on the Hudson has had for over 20 years a full out baccalaureate program at several prisons upstate. And this was a film made about the participants in that program, and they filmed in some of the classes. It's very moving, and I know many people can't go into a prison. That's not going to be their experience, but you can get a little window into what happens in classrooms inside of prisons, and some of the people who are taking these classes, and they follow them some of them after their release. So if anybody's interested, it's called College Behind Bars. I know Ken Burns was involved in it. It was on PBS, but I think it's on streaming platforms now if anybody's interested. It could kind of give you a visual of what's going on inside.
Okay. Well, I'm just so happy that you ladies came and shared this with us, because now people who may, see the program, if they have loved ones that are incarcerated, maybe they can, check and see if this can be done at the facility that their loved one is at, or if their loved one could be maybe, transferred, to a facility that, has this. Somebody asked a question, is this nationwide?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
There
are many different kinds of education and prison programs, but Inside Out is national, and there are other programs as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was a question that came up.
Yeah. The Inside Out Prison Exchange Program at Temple University is the main office, and they have a list of all the facilities and all of the universities that are involved not only across the United States, but internationally. They also have programs in other countries. So it has expanded quite a bit. It's been around for about 20 years, but it is snowballing, if you will. It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. How could people get in touch with you all if, they have questions, or they, maybe have a loved one that's incarcerated and they want that program to come to that facility, or, whatever questions they may have? How could they get in touch with you?
Our emails.
Our emails are.
It's
Can you
the
put
best.
that up on this? We put. Yes, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So they could contact you, Dr. Judith Ryder and Dr. Joanne Carroll at stjohns.edu. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That way they can, because they may want to, and then others may want to invite you to their different programs that they have, so that you could, a lot of women's events are going on, and, they may want to invite you as, guest speakers or something like that, so that, people will get the information. But I have definitely enjoyed you all, and I'm so glad. And thank you for the work that you do. It's very, very awesome to meet people who, do these type of things. And I'm sure that the incarcerated that you've helped are very grateful. I'm sure that their families are grateful. And, just keep on keeping on with, moving on with this project, because this is something that is very, very needed, not just here in the United States, but, all around. Really, they need projects like this. There are so many other countries that, who knows, maybe it'll catch fire to those other countries as well, and they could, start programs there. So thank you all. It was great
Thank
meeting
you.
you at the Her Story in March, and thank you all for being a guest on my show. I really, really appreciate it. And anytime you want to come back and tell us what you're doing, just let me know. You could come back and share with us what else is going on with your project. All right. I wish
Thank
you
you
the
so much.
best.
Thank
Crystal.
you. Have a
Yeah,
good
luck
day.
with your work as well. Thanks for
Thank
inviting
you.
us.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming.
Okay. All right,
My
thanks.
mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there with us at the Crystal Jones Show. I really enjoyed Dr. Judith Ryder and Dr. Joanne Carroll. They do great work. Like I said, I know at the facility that I work at, they definitely, offer for inmates to go back to college. And I think education definitely is key. Yes, people who have been incarcerated, they definitely need emotional support as well. So I would definitely suggest that you start getting your loved ones some help before they leave. If the facility that they're at has a person that they can talk to, whether it's a chaplain or a what do you call the medical health health aide that deals with like a psychologist or something like that, maybe you can speak with that person and see if maybe you can set up some type of appointments for your loved one to start getting that type of help. Also organizing when they come out, where are they going to be going, who's going to be their support group. They need a big support group. They really do. Whether your local church, like I said, if you have a therapist that can where they can see somebody weekly, but try get someone who they're going to trust, because you want them to continue to be to go to these programs and to get the help that they need, because transitioning after being, it's not normal to be locked up. It's not human. That's not the way, that's not the plan that God had for us, to be locked up. All right. We were created in his image. And so being locked up is not a part of that process at all. But, it has happened to many people. But can you imagine you coming back out, and for the first time, you're really touching the ground. You're able to go outside. You're able to hug your loved one. You're able to talk to them. There are going to be some things that they'll be disappointed about, when they come back. So, how are you going to help them through that, their anxieties? Because if it was something that they were involved in prior to that, you don't want them to have a setback. You don't want them to just automatically say, well, let me go back to drugs, or let me go back to whatever it is that they were doing. Okay. Because they can maybe be easily triggered. All right. Because even though when they're in their serving time, they may have been moved around to different facilities, and each facility has its own demons. I'm gonna tell you, They got their own demons. All right. You don't know what demons they've met up with. All right. So you need to, like I said, make your home as welcoming as possible, but also know that these people need help. See what type of medical they're going to be able to get. And if they're able to get a job before they get out, that's good too, because if they are working for a company or something like that, that company may be able to back them, because a lot of companies are willing to help these guys just before they get out of prison. A lot of times they could do work release. I would suggest highly that you try to get your loved one into work release. That will at least start the process of introducing them back into civilization. All right. Because remember, I don't know how long they've been incarcerated, but any time away from society is going to be a shocker for them going back into society. Okay. So you need to have a group set up to help them. Like I say, your local church, a therapist, you know, mental and physical. You know what I'm saying? So get those things set up now, like yesterday. Get them set up so that, and talk to your loved one about it. Don't just shock them and surprise them. Start talking to them when it's getting close to the time for them to come out. If they got 6 more months to go, start that conversation. Hey, listen, we need to talk about what's going to happen once you're let out of prison for good. Even the parole, talking to them about being consistent with going to parole, because if you're not there for your visit or something like that, that gets them in trouble, and you don't want them to have to go back because they forgot, their visit to their parole officer, or if the parole officer has to come to the home, however that works, or if the parole officer comes to the job, because they may come to the job to just make sure that they're actually working. So get your loved one ready. Get the family involved. Make it a family affair. Don't try to just go it alone unless you're the only person that they have. But get the family involved so that the family is encouraging and welcoming to that person when they come home. Don't treat them like a baby, like, don't not treat them like, what I'm saying, act normal. Act normal, but, sometimes you may even volunteer, you want me to come with you to the parole visit, or, be available, but don't be ridiculous, because nobody wants to be treated like that. You know what I mean? Prayer and faith will always work together. Prayer and faith in the Most High God, I'm telling you, will always work together. Show your loved one that they are loved. They have to, love them through this experience. Let them know they can make it, and that you're there behind them. Be their strong support group. Don't be the one, well, you should, don't do that. Don't. Even if they've been to jail 100 times, who knows? This could be the time where they got it. If you try to get them some help, though, like I said, while they're in there, get them some help and start talking to them about the help that they're going to be getting when they come out. All right. So don't give up on them. Continue, pray for them, and talk to them. Let them be honest with you about how they're feeling, what they're going through. They may have rough days. That this is not an easy thing. As sometimes, somebody may be coming out and they have children, they have a wife. That's kind of rough to get back into the mode of that if it's a male and he's somebody's husband, how does he, get back with his wife? How does he get back with the children? What do you say to your children? Don't, make it bad and, tell the children, oh, your father ain't no good, or oh, your mother ain't no good. Don't start off on the wrong foot, y'all. Don't do that. All right. It's a new start. It starts with you, really, because you're the one that's going to be receiving them back into the home or back into the family. So make it a good start for them. Don't start them off with, you're angry, you're mad, and you feel like they owe you money and all. Don't do that, okay? Fresh start. Pray about it. Seek the Lord. You need counseling yourself. Seek counseling, all right? Don't be judgmental and telling them, well, you got to follow the 10 Commandments. Don't do that, all right? Be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. That's what you need to do, because they need your love and your support more than anything else. Encourage them to go back to school. There are like these ladies said, there are Pell and TAP grants that they're able to get for, there's monies for the men that have and women that have been incarcerated to go back to school for free. All right. Also, there are a lot of jobs, like I said, that want to hire them. I get calls every week from employers that want to hire these guys while they're there and they're getting ready to get out. They got just about 6 months or 3 months left of their time. There are people that want to employ them. All right. So start with them now. Don't wait. Get them in that mode of, hey, I matter. I'm a part of society. And when I get out, starting before I get out, if they, like I said, get them in the work release program. If you can, if for some reason they're not eligible for work release, even if they're part of general population, start getting their mind geared toward getting a job and looking into programs that will help incarcerated people find work. There's a lot of different things they can do. Don't feel like, oh, what's he going to do? Oh boy. There are different things. They could probably do a lot of overnight janitorial shifts. They could do, there's a lot of different things that these guys can do, painting jobs, painting murals, a lot of, there's just things, that you've got to search and see what they can do. All right. So closing out, thank you for joining the Crystal Jones Show, the show that's all about life's balance. Please watch us every Saturday from 7 to 8 p.m. on bronxnet.org, channel 951-2137 on your cable channels, the Inspired channel. Also, like I said, subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos. Check me out on YouTube and also Instagram. Go and check out the Bible quotes, and you can check me out on HebrewConnect.tv. Thank you for joining. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. Rise, Yasharala, rise. Kwam, Yasharala, Kwam. God bless you. God keep you is my prayer, and always you stay balanced.
Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there. Not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
I know what you're thinking. I need a job.
Well, I've been there.
I've been there.
But you gotta keep going.
You just need the right skills. Find an apprenticeship.
I found a course online.
You can do this.
You will find something.
You will find something new.